Insurance is an industry where, by definition, you have to envision the future. What kind of tools do you use to look forwards?
There are very sophisticated tools that we use. Our industry is geared towards statistical analysis in the end. So we rely upon a lot of historical data. And also we do rely upon econometric models and predictory models that enable us to try to make sense of what could be the future.
But I mean, we've seen quite graphically in the recession a few years ago that such models on their own are not enough to ensure success.
This is very true. I would say that the current financial crisis, which unfortunately is not yet completely over, has demonstrated how fragile are these models, how really difficult it is to predict precisely what will be the future.
What kind of scenario building do you do at Generali?
The scenario building that we do basically is a combination of financial markets inputs on one side and our ability of assessing the development of our liabilities in the future. Basically, every time that we underwrite a risk, we build up a reserve to cover for future losses. This estimation about how big is the reserve for future losses is made through actuarial calculations, which are also geared on data relying on past experience mostly, and some predictive model as well.
There are so many different models, and there are so many different examples and counterexamples for every possible scenario. Why bother with any kind of model? Why not just go with your gut instinct?
Well, gut instinct plays a role, that's for sure. But anyway, I would say that we cannot renounce to structure our thinking. It's very important to try to reduce as much the complexity of the uncertainties and try to reconcile this complexity in a scenario building approach. So trying to have few options, few possible scenarios, in fact. None of these scenarios is certain. Each of them has a certain degree of probability, out of which you can also attach some payoffs. So it's a sort of decision tree approach. However, as there is no certainty that this will be the real outcome, it's always very savvy to have plan B, plan C, and plan D.
In the insurance industry, they use a lot of retroactive data to build their arguments about what will happen. Is data about the past useful when we're planning the future?
It can be useful to look at the patterns, to enrich our analysis, but scenario building goes much far beyond that. First of all, we always think about various outcomes. So when you look at the worst possible scenario, on the same page you have also the best possible scenario, and you have the status quo scenario, and you have the niche market development scenario. So when you look about your action plan for today, you look at all four possible opportunities, and you have to find the actions that can sort of accommodate all the four possible outcomes.
A giant dinosaur could land from space and start eating our offices. We can't plan for everything. Why bother?
We can't plan for everything. This is true. That doesn't mean that we have to entrust our future to the past. So this would be very wrong and very dangerous reasoning. At the present, doesn't tell you anything about the future.
What is a critical uncertainty?
It has two characteristics. It has potentially very important impact on the company, and the probability of this event is highly uncertain.
If I engage with or address critical uncertainties, what do I get? What can I do that I couldn't do before?
It gives you the possibility to think about the options. And Aristotle said that when we start thinking about the future, it gives us the freedom of option. I think this is really important. So not accept the external events as something you can't impact, but something that you can face, deal with, and benefit to the best possible extent.